Question for you. Are you open to the possibility that you might not be as good at it as you think you are? Like whatever it is. Looking back over my life, there have, in retrospect, in hindsight, and hindsight's always 20/20 as they say, right? But looking back over my life, in retrospect, there have been so many moments, chapters, seasons, where I really thought I was the cat's meow, right? I really thought I was the tits of the cat in some domain at something. And then sometime later, with more experience, knowledge acquired, application, wisdom, right? I then look back at that former version of me in that same domain, and I have me a good chuckle, right? Are you open to that being a possibility? Here's why I ask this. Because if you're not open to that at the very least being a possibility, then that means a whole lot of different ways of thinking, pivoting, and adapting are closed off to you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if you go in, take any scenario in your life, something to do with growing your business, something to do with money management, something to do with just finances in general, because that's a common one. Or maybe your relationship with your girlfriend, your wife, or your game with women, whatever it might be, your networking skills, right? Your ability to be part of or bring together networks of high-performing men, whatever it might be. If you're not open, so if you're not getting the momentum or the results that you want, but you are putting in effort, if you're not open to the possibility, at least, that you're not as good at it as you think you are, then a lot of downstream opportunities from being open to that possibility are closed off to you because you won't even go there. Because if you're open to the idea that maybe I'm not as good as I think I am at this, and maybe that's a part of the reason why I'm not getting the results that I want, then what happens is you're open to taking a hard look or an honest look at your competence, your knowledge, your wisdom, and potentially the lack thereof in correlation to the bucket of life that you're analyzing. Like small, tiny little tactical example. In my marketing company, about every 3 to 6 months, one of the technology platforms that we run ad campaigns on will have some kind of a shift. Sometimes subtle, sometimes big. And that will generally then start to have some sort of a second, third, fourth order domino effect of results in terms of reach, lead cost, conversion, etc. And what I teach my students and clients in that business is one of the biggest mistakes that we can make when it comes to lead generation and marketing is we will hang on to a tactic, strategy, method, or framework far after its peak has come and gone. Like there's some kind of a tactic or strategy that can work really well right now. But in 12 to 18 months, if you keep doing it exactly the way you're doing it now and it's working well now, in 18 months, it could be working at 50% the results or less. I have seen this time and time and time again. especially in a competitive playing ground like lead generation and marketing and sales, right? And I see this over and over and over again, especially with solopreneurs and small business owners. They will keep doing the same bloody thing exactly the way it used to work 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. Now it's working less and less or completely broken. And they fall into the trap of doing more. If I just do double the amount of work implementing the same method, I'll get more results. That's not the case. Because if something is on the decline, if something is on the decay, doubling your work isn't going to double your outcome. It's still going to get less outcome. So now you get burnt, now you're burning out. Or you think the whole idea of this marketing and lead generation stuff is all now rubbish and poppycock. So you have to be open to the idea and possibility that this method, tactic, or strategy isn't as good anymore as you think it is, or as it was. Maybe you're not as good at it as you think you are. You don't have the same mastery of that social media platform and how to run ads on it as you once did. You're not as good as you think you are now. Now it's time to elevate. This recently happened with a platform. And what I realized is that before, to get my clients, my done-for-you clients on the agency side of the business, to keep getting them the exact same result. Oh, there's a specific niche that I serve, one of the niches that I serve, with specific outcome I get them. And up until a few months ago, as long as we had made sure that our client was seen 5 or more times on video ads in 30 days or less, their lead conversion, lead engagement was stellar. Then something changed, something shifted. And what I now realize, and took a deep dive into the analytics, the numbers, performance, right? Because ROAS is key, return on ad spend for my clients. And what I figured out and now have proven is that now the same clients with the same kind of marketing, right, to the same types of leads and clients that they want to get, the minimum effective dose now to keep getting the same results we were getting before, we have to now make sure our client is seen 10 or more times in 30 days or less. And they have to be seen across at least two different social media platforms, ideally 3. So now that changes up a lot of different things that we do. That's what it takes to win now, right? But if I'm not open to the idea that we're no longer as good as we think we are, because the sands have shifted under our feet, we're just going to keep running what we're running and think it'll just keep working. It won't. Same thing with, maybe you were great with women in high school, or maybe you were great with women in college. But then, you graduate, you get out into the real world, start your career 2-3 years in. Maybe your finances are on point. Maybe you haven't had a serious girlfriend in a while, but now you want one. You start getting into the dating pool, dating game. You're not doing as well. Because maybe you're not as good as you think you are in that age bracket, at that stage of your life, based upon what's expected of a man at that age. Maybe you were killing it in college when it was more carefree. But now suddenly, you're not as good as you think you are or as you once were, because you're in a different stage, different environment, different rules, different expectations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so if a guy is stuck in his mindset, if he's stuck in his glory days of college or high school, whatever it might be, surprising how many men refuse to grow up, then what happens is you keep trying to do the same thing and make it work that used to work, but it's not going to work. You have to be open to the possibility that you're not as good at game and dating and attracting women as you once were at a different time in a different place. If you're open to that, you then actually have the opportunity to then improve your competence, improve your insight, your knowledge, your wisdom, your skill set. So I just want you to think about this. Be aware of it. If you're not, for me, last year in 2024, my primary business, which has nothing to do with this channel, but my primary business didn't do the revenue that I anticipated or had a goal set for. Didn't even do half that revenue that I was shooting for. Now, sure, my main industry where I get most of my clients has gone through tremendous upheaval and chaos in 2024. It got slammed 6 ways from Sunday. Almost half of the people in the industry didn't do any business. It was hit a 40-year all-time low in transaction volume. It went through a very wonky year. But I'm not one to blame external circumstances. The way I look at it is somehow I didn't see the writing on the wall. Maybe I wasn't as open to the idea that I'm not as good as I once was, or as I think I am. So I then wasn't able to adapt or pivot as quickly as I needed to, etc. So going into this year, I've looked at every stage and pillar and component of my company and asked myself the following question: how am I underperforming in this area? How am I potentially underperforming? Not just with my own lead generation of getting my own clients, but then our onboarding process. Is it as good as I think it is? Have other companies started to become better at doing it because they brought fresh eyes to it, and I'm still doing it the way we've always done it, right? Onboarding process, launch process, referral getting systems, technology, the education component, right? I've now taken and disassembled every part of my company like a Lego set. I've pulled all the pieces apart and I'm reevaluating everything. And one of the core questions that I'm going in with is, in what ways am I not as good here anymore as I thought I was? Because when I ask myself that question with genuine humility and with genuine curiosity and with no judgment, I then have the opportunity to start having doors of improvement and elevation open for me. Because now my mind is open to that. And so if your mind is closed off to the potential self-evaluation and feedback loop, that maybe you're just not as good at it as you think you are, then a lot of doors are closed, a lot of positive doors and the big opportunities behind them downstream from that question and thought are closed off to you. Think about it.